We're going to begin by reading something because it highlights a lot of what so many of you are talking about here today. Through dedicated awareness and practice, I have become more and more sustained in my inner connection with my core being. What nice words. One of the most important effects is that I've become very aware of the difference between knowing or feeling what I want and feeling what others want from me. And many times there's a big difference. I recently had the experience of not doing what a close family member was expecting me to do. And there was a very upsetting response from the family member who engaged many other family members in condemning that I had not been there for them. I found myself trying to do the impossible, which was attempting to control the growing family narrative of me as someone who wasn't there for the family. Aren't those good words, and can't you understand them? I tried to do the impossible thing, attempting to control the growing family narrative of me as someone who isn't there for the family. I know you've spoken about this many times in the past. I would love to hear your fresh perspective for this question. So, we want to draw your attention to the analogy that we've been offering about a bag of marbles. How everyone has one, and the marbles in the bag represent the active thoughts, or active beliefs, or active expectations. They're what the law of attraction is responding to. Now, of course, you don't have a bag of marbles, but it's a concept to help you accept that you are walking around with active vibrations that you may or may not be aware that you have. But the law of attraction is accurate in matching whatever is active in you with what's active in others. So, some of you wrote things sort of like what we just read about givers and takers. I am a giver, someone said, and it seems like others are takers, and sort of fits in with this, because what we want you to hear is that everyone is a cooperative component. And by that we mean you've got active marbles. So sometimes you are the attractor of cooperation from another. And sometimes, so you are the receiver, or you are the, some call it taking. Sometimes you are a cooperative component to the giving to another. And in all of this, the law of attraction is the reason. The law of attraction is the sorter out of all of this. So when you are in a situation where you've been attempting, and you have for some time, to control the narrative, that's like that light board that our friend showed us earlier. Or that's like trying to sort through all of the bag of marbles that exist in any point in time. That is an impossible task. Futile. The impossible, you said. Attempting to control the narrative of what somebody else has going on. All you can control is how you feel, or what marbles are active within you, which means all that you can control, and happily, all that is necessary for you to live happily ever after to control, is your relationship with your inner being's bag of marbles. And then you just let the law of attraction work it out the way the law of attraction works it out. Because if you're trying to manage what's in somebody else's bag of marbles, it is futile and frustrating and overwhelming and defeating. But if you are aware of the way you feel, so you are aware of what you're doing with your own vibrationally active marbles or thoughts, now you can move through your life experience in a power that we are quite certain that few of you have even considered. When you care about how you feel, so you practice until you expect to feel good about most things. Not because someone is demonstrating something pleasing to you, but because you are such a good selective sifter, because you look where it feels good, and you look away from what doesn't feel good, and you don't try to control anybody else in what they are doing. When you accomplish alignment, consistent alignment with your inner being, as your inner being follows the path of your continual becoming, and then the law of attraction matches you up with what you've matched up, then you become the most natural giver and taker, or allower and receiver. And because it happens with such a flow, because you begin to attract the good stuff, because that's what you've tuned yourself to. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be people who look at you and try to drag you into a different conversation. But it won't get to you like it was getting to you. Because the amount of aligned interactions that you will begin to have in comparison with the discordant, uncomfortable ones, the relationship will be enormous. You'll begin to feel that it's really a freaky thing when somebody gets to you. Esther said to someone the other day, I want to be low-strung, not high-strung, meaning I want to be so in alignment and so expectant of good things that's just how it goes. And because my expectation of things going well for me is so much stronger than my concern or worry that they won't go well for me or for someone else, then I don't tear myself away from my alignment, which is what a high-strung seeming person is doing, sort of freaking out because you've lost your place.
Hello. Yesterday, my little granddaughter, who's 3 years old, said to me, "Oh, yeah, can you please move that green pepper from the counter? I don't want to look at it." So I replied, if you don't feel good when you look at something, then look at something else. Find something else to look at that makes you happy. She said, "Oh, please, can you just move it?" And I said, "Honey, you can't rely on other people to make you happy. You have to make you happy." So it must have resonated, because all day today she's walking through the kitchen with her eyes closed so she doesn't have to see the green pepper. Anyway, I have always wanted to write a children's book. They're so packed with alignment, these little ones, and parents tend to squelch it. And so I wondered if you could give me any advice with how to write a children's book that's as much for the parents as it is for the kids. I love you, and thank you for any advice you can give me.
Well, we think it would be wonderful for you to write a children's book, and we think you have the perfect child in your experience to give you all of those stories and wonderful observations that are coming right to you. That story, that experience that you lived with your little one and the green pepper, isn't that just what we were talking about? She believed for a moment, until you let her understand that that's not how you roll, she believed that you would be willing to jump through her hoop in order to satisfy her. And you gave her the greatest gift that anyone could give her, that she can find a way without needing anybody else to do something about it. Now that is the most significant understanding that you could ever gift anyone with. When you make a suggestion about something that you would like to do as you're engaging with someone, and they give you that disapproving, sometimes contrived and sometimes they just can't help themselves, disappointed look back, really having come to believe that if they're disappointed enough, they can affect your decision. When you cave in to calibrating, to not desires, but really demands. When someone is disappointed with you or giving you a hard time about something, They're trying to attract you from their negative end of the stick, and it is never going to turn out well for you. And we know that sometimes it's the relationship that you've developed. A lot of adult relationships, couples, parents and children, all kinds of relationships have momentum going. But if we were standing in any of your physical shoes, we would respond to the next person who needed something from you that you weren't easily already offering because the law of attraction had sucked it right from you. In other words, you want to co-create by being a cooperative component to what feels good, not by being a soother or trying to fix, by succumbing to demands of disconnected others. Never give in to someone who is demanding. It doesn't help them.